All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the Indonesia track. Here to start off, we have a panel discussion on Indonesia retail leader stocks. Stay current and stay resilient. Joining us, we have Sujoy Golan, Chief Revenue Officer at Vizury. We have Mahendra Dhiraj, General Manager Digital Initiatives at Mitra Adiperkasa. We have Stephanie Aliwarga, AVP of Marketing Merchant Solutions at Circlo. We have Evelyn Naftalie, Group Vice President of Omnichannel CT Corp Digital. And our moderator, we have Mr. Hendra Godjali, Consulting Services Leader at EY Indonesia. So over to you, Hendra.
Thank you, Jen. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone, our fellow panelists, as well as the audience. I hope that everybody is in the safe condition and healthy condition. I think, as we all know, the fact that COVID has hit us about 2 years ago, and we all know that from um, our condition from the mega trend perspective, there are several mega trends, including technology as one of our mega trend, technology, demographic shift, and everything. But specifically, COVID unexpectedly become our biggest mega trend, and this has been so-called forcing us to do a digital transformation in all industry, right? And today, I'm happy that I have a good combination from the industry player as well as platform provider or solution provider that can give us a good a discussion today. So I will start off with several of the discussion, some of the questions to throw into our panelists. Feel free for any of you to have any question if the participant want to have some question through the chat box, so then I can relay it to the a proper speaker today's. Yeah. So maybe if I can throw the question to Evelyn first, um, from can you tell me due to the COVID, when you are start switching uh, from the offline store, and how do you start moving to the online business, specifically in the start of COVID, right? I mean we know that a lot of our people, a lot of our company, or a lot of industry are not that ready to jump into digital shopping kind of thing. Yeah. Evelyn, maybe if you can take a step in regards of this one, how do you do that switching first? Yeah?
Okay, afternoon, Mahendra and fellow panelists. Thanks for having me here. So our customers, I believe everywhere are changing, and these changes, like you said, are accelerated even more by COVID-19. So our retail cluster was impacted more than the others at that time. At the beginning of the pandemic, we had to react quickly to not miss the momentum. So first, we enabled an online shopping platform. You might have heard Transmart Home Delivery at that time. We built it in, I think, less than 2 weeks. And then we also have the chat to shop where customers can direct chat with our staff via WhatsApp to place their orders. We combine it by bringing exposure to this online platform through our media. So we had the TVC, and then we use our news and media portal as the catalog actually. So we highlight the online, the Transmart Home Delivery on the homepage of the TIC actually. Customers can fill up their basket in the TIC website and then complete the payment in Transmart platform. We also utilize digital marketing, our digital marketing, social media, all communication channels, newsletter, and WhatsApp to broadcast to the first the ecosystem and then to external to drive traffic to this online platform. At that time, it worked actually for one of our fashion business where the digital marketing campaign drive more than 100% increase in sales. The last one, personally, this is the most exciting initiative, combining both physical and digital campaign. It's the mass vaccination because, in a way, we encourage and help people to get vaccinated while they naturally come to our properties. The registration was done through our media in the digital platform, So customers need to provide their emails and contact number, but they naturally come to our stores. We utilize our stores and properties as the vaccine venue for our employees and their families, and later for public. So we believe that any good deeds resonate with our consumers, especially during the unprecedented time of pandemic. I think these were some of the interim solutions that we did at the beginning of the pandemic, but at the same time, we are working on full transformation to the digital business.
Well noted. Well noted. Thank you for that one. I think it is an exciting 2 weeks kind of transformation to build a solution, Ibu Evelyn, and I think you have been so-called utilizing all front of digital means, yeah, chat to shop, WhatsApp, digital marketing kind of thing, and to combine to boost the activity as well as enhancing the engagement to the customer. Maybe if I can switch to Pa Mahendra, from the MAP perspective, can you share some insight what you have done in the beginning of COVID pandemic happened, Pa Mahendra?
Thank you, Mahendra. So, I mean, just to start, of course, the last 2 years has been very, very challenging globally for, I think, every organization, every country, every economy in the world. And to add to it, there was drastic changes in the way people, I mean, the lifestyle changes were significant in terms of the way of living or the way of socializing, the way of communication, way of purchase, everything. I mean, the whole ecosystem has changed drastically in the last 2 years. So, and every retailer, I would say, globally, had to innovate to, to be competitive, to be there in the market. And there were a lot of challenges, like as you mentioned, there were store closures, there were restrictions in terms of footfalls in offline stores, there were logistical constraints in terms of movement of goods, and also the priority of spending for people obviously had changed during those difficult times, and there were travel restrictions. So there were a lot of challenges, as we all know. So what we did, of course, the most important thing, I think, as Mahendra, you quoted, one of the important thing is the foundation. Did we have the right foundation which can scale up business online, offline, omni-channel, as we hear it? And we had a very strong foundation connecting like all of our 2,000 plus stores, 150 plus brands. Everything was connected in the background as a single inventory multi-channel ecosystem. So the whole ecosystem was very nimble and resilient, as the theme of this what particular panel discussion goes. So that resilient architecture or the solution architecture, which were there in the background, like a single connected ecosystem, was the key in terms of driving our transformation. So immediately we were able to turn around. Now, in fact, looking back, we have a very, very strong online presence today across, be it social commerce, be it our own digital flagship stores, be it marketplaces, be it brand stores, be it WhatsApp, chat and buy, everywhere. I think we were able to do that and scale up very quickly because of that backend infrastructure and the setup architecture. So, and also to support our customers, we had to innovate in terms of payment. Say, for instance, buy now, pay later. So there were a lot of startup ecosystem coming up in the economy in Indonesia, and we had a very strategic partnership with a lot of them in terms of supporting our customers in payment space. Similarly, in terms of logistics, we had to have what do you call instant delivery, etc. So which also we work with the ecosystem of partners in Indonesia, and that actually helped transform a lot of customers. In fact, some of the business, like we have Boots Pharmacy, for instance, so it helps to enable customers to get immediate deliveries of products, especially in this tough times. And also from organizational structure wise, also there were a lot of revamp, in terms of, which is because one is process, one is people, and most important, even the processes and people together has to work seamlessly. So org structure wise, also there was a lot of changes which were done to support the omni-channel push drastically, which happened. And most important, customer service. With all these changes, at the end of the day, the king is the customer. So we had to ensure that customer experience is seamless. And so we ramped up our customer service team significantly to support our ecosystem. And last but not the least, I would say the social commerce, the chat and buy also really grew big time. And we were able to leverage our store staff, who had some time during the mall closure, store closure time. So we were able to leverage them and in fact provide a multiple channel experience for the customer. So at the end of the day, we had to ensure that our customer has a seamless experience, whether it's offline, online. There are no boundaries anymore in this space, right? So we had to ensure that is prevalent. Again, lastly, I would say from a compliance in terms of vaccination, 100% staff, 100% of the staffs getting vaccinated, giving a comfort for the customers to come in, providing enough facilities in all the stores in terms of a very safe shopping environment. So all that was done in a very 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 short term and short time, I would say.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm hearing quite a similar comment from you with compared to Ibu Evelyn, but I think one of the notable comment is basically you are very grateful to have a strong backbone that you have been a strong foundation that you have been able to generate it previously. This allow you to be more agile in supporting the digital or omni-channel transformation, specifically during the COVID-19, starting of the COVID-19. Yeah? If I switch to our solution and platform player, Stephanie, maybe if I can switch to you, can you share two things basically? What is Circlo, and quickly on that one, and how do you see the beginning of the pandemic have make a changes to our customer and how they have been react by using your solution? Yeah, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you, Mahendra, for the opportunity. Okay, so basically with Circle, our mission is to help everybody sell online. So sell online meaning everybody, meaning from small to medium businesses to enterprise. So for enterprise, basically we have three pillars to help businesses to really transition to online business quite seamlessly. So part of our offering, the first pillar is actually on e-commerce enablement. So e-commerce enablement is how big businesses, especially when you switch to online, the logistics, like what was mentioned by Mahendra earlier, was always a big challenge, especially when you're a big organization. So basically with Circle Commerce, our e-commerce enablement service would help business to easily transition, because you can tap into the ecosystem and all the systems and platforms that we have already in place, so that you can transition into marketplace very easily. The second pillar is for brands that actually want to, once they've gone into e-commerce, usually you would want to expand your businesses, right? And the second pillar is actually about the tech arm of Circlo, and this is how we help brands to build their own platform to sell online. So this would be the omni-channel web store, it could be the website, and it could be customized according to your needs. And the last pillar is actually the digital marketing solution, where basically the digital marketing solution will be the client partner to help clients to develop marketing strategy and also solution that would be implemented across Circlo ecosystem. So we basically have a very end-to-end offering, and the digital marketing would help to curate everything and really put them together quite seamlessly as one ecosystem and one comprehensive plan to make sure that you get the best out of what Circlo has to offer in terms of building your business online. So that's really in a nutshell of what we do in Circlo. Maybe moving on to the second question on what we saw during the pandemic, the clearest thing, early on, I read a report that during the pandemic, the adoption of e-commerce has been so accelerated that what was projected to be a growth in 10 years was basically achieved in 3 months. It was so compressed, it was so fast, and we don't see that trends are going to go back fully offline anymore. So I think this really showcased how vital e-commerce is, especially during the lockdown, not only for businesses to survive, but also for people to be able to go about their daily life, fulfilling their needs, doing their grocery round without having to worry about the lockdown. So the biggest trend that we see, looking at that and the big potential of e-commerce, naturally, we see a lot of retailers trying to go to online. For those who are not yet present in online, there's a rush to be able to pick up online, from creating their store, from creating a social media to complement their store and be an engagement channel with their consumers. So we see that a lot. And also for those who are already in online, what we see was there's an acceleration in really pushing the growth of their online business. So that is the big trend that we see. And how do they shift to online? It can be divided by a few levels. I think on a very basic part, it's definitely the utilization of marketplace as an online channel, because you get to tap onto the big user base of these marketplaces. But aside from that, we also see that brands are starting to shift not from their offline, and they're utilizing like websites, for example, for as a source of information for people who want to know about their products and services, but may not have no longer have the access to offline actually. So that's the first trend that we see. The second trend that we see during the pandemic was actually about maintaining the engagement that business used to have offline with direct with their customers, and now that shifting to online, there's a big challenge sometimes in terms of maintaining engagement, maintaining loyalty and retention of the consumer. So we see that there is this direct to consumer engagement. So now it's not just marketplace that is being pushed online, but it's also how can we use online to engage with our customers. So for example, I think Pak Mahendra also mentioned earlier about the usage of messaging platform like WhatsApp. So WhatsApp has become, as the most dominant messaging platform in Indonesia, has become a very key channel for brands to engage with their consumers. And then the trend now is that if WhatsApp used to be an add-on customer service, I think we also see an optimization of WhatsApp. So for example, the adoption of WhatsApp Business, so that now WhatsApp is no longer just a means to contact the business, to ask for inquiries, but it also became a source of information with the catalog, with basic information that is usually asked, and then to optimize the customer service experience. There's also some adoption that we see in really trying to maintain this online engagement. So the usage of email marketing being, I see patterns in a few businesses that I follow as well, that the degree of frequency of email marketing that was being sent is actually a lot more often. And the use of multi-channel, those who usually only use email marketing, now they use WhatsApp as well to reach and engage and update and give information to the consumer. So now, yes, there's definitely a lot of shift online, but those are the two big trends that we definitely see in Circle in terms of business during the pandemic, Mahendra.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah.
If I can switch to Sujoy, similar question: what is Vizury, and how do you see this pandemic have transformed the behavior of the customer, and how do you see industry player has been utilizing, or what trend do you see from Vizury perspective? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the panel, Hendra. It's a pleasure. In fact, Vizury powers the next generation of marketing and commerce AI for brands, especially on conversational apps. Brands use Vizury to power engagement, conversions, and loyalty on channels like WhatsApp, of course, which is extremely popular in Indonesia. We are part of the Affle group, and we've been working with brands in Indonesia for over 12 years now, since the really early days of digital. When COVID-19 hit, of course, the shift was sudden. Brands moved quickly to really get technology solutions in place to help them. Because it was a sudden shift, there was also a lot of confusion that accompanied the shift. Right? Again, a lot of our panelists have credited their move or their resilience to having strong backbones, but a lot of brands did not have really that privilege. Omnichannel in the past was a buzzword. Right? A lot of brands saw omnichannel as a buzzword. Typically, omnichannel meant that digital orders would kind of get allocated to stores, and that was really the scope of omnichannel. But this was a very different shift. Right? So consumers had completely moved online, but investments in retail still existed, and retail was under pressure to really drive sales. We know what happened next. E-commerce really scaled, web app scaled, but really this event or this shift led to emergence of newer channels like conversational commerce. And in Indonesia, of course, with WhatsApp really leading the charge. So retailers were really then able to, who did this successfully, saw business growth. And what we saw is really that business growth was driven by consumers moving to channels like conversational commerce really fast, right? Rather than businesses making a choice to say, hey, this is technology that I need to have. Consumers were using apps like WhatsApp. The time spent on these apps was really, really high. And then that drove commerce for retail. And using this, consumers could really decide where they wanted to discover products, where they wanted to actually go ahead and complete their purchase, right? Did they want to discover products online, for example? Did they want to then find products at the nearest store and go ahead and complete their journey? Maybe try the product at store and purchase, or even have the products delivered to them from the store, right? So the power in the hands of consumers, that was a big part of the shift. And at Vizury and the other brands that we work with, right, our goal is to make this very successful.
Thank you. Now, if I switch a little bit, we know that from yes, pandemic has started this and has accelerated that digital transformation to all of us. All the industry has been moving towards that. We hear from all the industry player, namely on MAP as well as City Corp today, and two platform or solution provider to emulate this fast changing transformation to make it even faster. While that thing has been good at the early of the COVID, but as we go on, we know that customer expectation continue to move. And what digital solution Evelyn was mentioning about the combination between digital and physical. I call it digital on that one, between digital and physical. So all of those has created additional expectation, for our customer. There are three value proposition, if you ask me. Mostly in EY, we are categorizing each company will need to start setting their value proposition to customer through this omni-channel perspective. These are providing a time saver. Second topic is about problem solver to the customer, as well as the third value proposition is about experience creator. Ibu Evelyn, you want to share a little bit about your plan, what kind of value proposition that you are trying to provide to your customer, and how you're going to move towards that. It could be a mix of 2 or 3 value proposition, but I would like to also understand how do you balance between those several value proposition that you are trying to push. Silakan Ibu.
Thank you, Mahendra. So I think, like you said, in some ways, our existing business is currently reflecting on those 3 values. So I think our chairman has envisioned this value even in the existing project, benefiting from the strength and the diversity of our ecosystem business. So for example, if we're talking about our store currently, if we're talking about one of our store, retail store, it's beyond just the hypermarket. So it has food court, department store, even indoor theme park and movie theater in one place. So in a way, it is built to be the one-stop experience for families. And now being supported by the online platform, it is adding the time-saving values. So customers can buy and choose to be delivered to their address or choose to pick it up in store. So I think delivering all 3 values to our customers through multiple touch points is what we consider the right plan. The goal for us is to answer every customer's needs. We aim to reflect those values in both ways, in any way, like you said, in digital way, because we believe we have the infrastructure and the capabilities at the moment. So one business unit can leverage service from the others to collaborate on things such as providing the platform, providing the products and the fulfillment, cross business marketing and activation. And within our group itself, we have the capacity to do a targeted customer profiling, audience segmentation, and so on. So we can see the changes vary actually in one business unit depending on the location, the demography, age group, or shopping behavior. So I think first we need to be able to map out who our customers are and what value would be more attractive to certain group of customers. 2 years after COVID, we all see a shift in people's lifestyle. Like some people who used to go buy groceries offline, with meeting with problem solving and the experience creator proposition, now their offline shopping frequency might probably decline. So we understand that customers living in big cities would value the time saving proposition more during the pandemic. I believe we are all here aware of the emerging competition, for example, in the delivery speed of the online grocery providers now ranging from 15 minutes to 3 hours. So for this group of customers, it's important for a retailer to have a digital presence, which is why digital marketing, automated and personalized product recommendation is also one of the tools we can utilize. This is where platform and technology become a defining factor in delivering the values. The other key factor I would say is collaboration. So if we're taking the example of customers in tier 2 or tier 3 cities, rather than the availability of an online presence, they opt to seek for a retailer that can provide them still with physical interaction and experience. So pushing them with time saver value proposition might not be so wise because they might value problem solver and the experience creator more. Hence, we may use a different approach. Giving one example, we are doing localization as well. So rather than introducing a whole new brand, we collaborate with local players that they already know and are familiar with. So starting from the even the brand name of the store, product selection, and so on.
Okay, thank you for that, Ibu Evelyn. Pak Mahendra, from your perspective, can you share in regards of the value proposition that MAP are trying to develop, and how are you balancing between those several of the value proposition, Pak Mahendra?
Thank you, Mahendra. So I think, as Evelyn mentioned, and also I think you also mentioned, these are not in silos. So it's not possible to have just one. So it's we need to balance the right mix in terms of the different value proposition for the customers. I think starting with one, I think as I think Sujoy also mentioned, omnichannel was a jargon for many years. I mean, for a lot of years, companies used to call omnichannel, but it was not actually omnichannel. But today, with the digital adoption really accelerating, it has truly become an omnichannel experience for the customer. So you can buy online, browse online, pick up in store, browse in store, buy online. So it has become again seamless. So one thing we as an organization, we definitely want to ensure a seamless experience for the customer. That's number one. And number two, in the machine learning space, I mean, things have evolved a lot, in terms of predictive recommendation, prescriptive recommendation, etc. And we work with a lot of partners for that to ensure that we are able to recommend the right product to the right customer at the right price at the right time. So we work with an ecosystem of partners for that, in fact. And that's important because today's customers are very demanding and they want the right content. They don't have much patience. So we need to make sure that we get to them the right thing with whatever they're looking for at the right time. And on top of it, we have a strong fabric of a loyalty program called Map Club, which covers this whole ecosystem. So whether it is online, offline, all this is bound together by a single loyalty program, which ties all this together so that a customer has an experience across all the brands, across the whole portfolio of his interactions at different touch points with us. And lastly, we are also evolving in terms of the UI UX of because that also has changed with the kind of mobile adoption, and a significant chunk of transaction happens in the mobile today compared to say a decade back when it was desktop centric for e-commerce conversion. So earlier it used to be mobile for browsing, but conversion used to happen a lot on the desktop. But 10 years down the line, and as of today, it is the whole ratio has completely skewed and changed. So from UI UX in terms of more mobile focused, definitely that's some area where we work on content and the right assortment in terms of different channels, in terms of positioning, and also now again, video content has really taken in Indonesia with TikToks of the world now here. So there is a lot of live streaming, video streaming content part where customers are wishing for a different experience in terms of engagement. So that's also something we'll be working significantly going forward as well.
Excellent. If I can switch to before I switch to Circlo and Vizury, I haven't get any question coming from the audience. So for the audience, feel free to type in your question if you have any question you want to ask the panelists, so I can direct it to the right panelists for your question. Now, since we don't have any question yet, so let me switch the gear to our solution or platform provider in this case. Understanding the different value proposition that has been adopted both in City Corp as well as in MAP, nothing is really mutually exclusive. Everything needs to be covered, right, on that one, right? If you are from your perspective, how do you see the industry player are focused, basically putting this value proposition in front of them? Yeah? If I can put it this one to Sujoy first from Vizury perspective. I think you're on mute, Sujoy.
Yes, sorry. Thanks, Mahendra. One big change that we're seeing is brands focusing on the importance of first-party data. First-party data is starting to be seen as incredibly critical. It gives brands a way to have strong connections with their customers and really own their audience. In fact, with marketplaces, that's always been a challenge, and brands have been running initiatives to really gather first-party data, enrich it, and then also do more with it. Right? So in fact, all three steps are very, very important to really follow each other. There's also a move towards enhancing marketing and commerce AI. Right? So the older generation of tech that maybe did email and SMSs, or maybe and on which maybe loyalty programs sat or other marketing programs sat. That's clearly real. I think brands are realizing that they need to do a lot more. And here is where, again, conversational commerce, because we play in the space, that comes in and is really leading the charge from what we are seeing. And WhatsApp is, of course, starting to power these conversations and making the entire initiative extremely simple. Like our other panelists have spoken about, customers can really choose to discover or where they want to discover products, and where they want to go ahead and complete their purchase, right? Do they want to buy from e-commerce? Yes, then give them an option to do so. Do they want to buy online, pick up in store, buy online, or reserve online and then try a product at store, or even have the product delivered from store? Does that mean, I mean, so many options, is it confusing to customers? Usually not. And if a brand is focused on making this simple, to understand what is the right option to give at the right time, then this doesn't really confusing. Also, a channel like WhatsApp doesn't really have to be standalone, right? A lot of brands look at it, hey, this is my chat strategy, or this is my chat and shop strategy. Doesn't have to be standalone. It really is a channel that plugs into every other consumer or customer touch point, right? Whether if the customer is on your e-commerce site, if the customer is at your store, right? Can you show a QR code at your POS, and when they're walking out, can they scan the QR code and then they get connected to your brand's channel and they continue the conversation, right? They remain connected even when they leave your store. Or even connected to your e-commerce site when they come in. If they drop off, can you re-engage them with a relevant personalized conversation? So nothing is really standalone, nothing is really siloed, and of course, conversations becoming super important, and customers love this more than anything else.
Thank you. Stephanie, you want to take it from your experience, Stephanie? I think you're also on mute.
All right. Okay. So I think out of the three pillars that was mentioned, definitely the first pillar, practicality, is the big highlight, right? With online transactions. So I think nowadays, again, agree, customer is king. Nowadays, if before in offline customer has to follow the schedule of the offline stores, now with online there's more flexibility, there's more practicality, especially now that there are so many tools that can enable conversational messaging, where basically customer can contact the retailer with their own time and be responded when there is they are available. So I think there's a lot of discussion, a lot of innovation around practicality and flexibility to adapt to the needs of the consumer nowadays. The second thing also is in the bundling and solution, because now with online, one of the I think the beauty of online transaction is that there's a wealth of data behind it that we can use to drive insight and create an action plan, an actionable marketing plan. But there's also how this data can be used to improve customer experience. So you have this historical data that whenever customer contacted you, you can respond with the right product, with the right solution, with the right response. So I think in terms of this personalization is definitely where we can definitely improve based on the data that is already available. And I think this is also where a lot of the focus is there, and how do you use that data improve your business. So for example, you also mentioned about bundling and doing a personalized solution. Now with the wealth of data, it's much easier to create that the bundle that is relatable, that is relevant to your consumer. So I think those two are definitely practicality, and also a bundled personalized solution is definitely something that really puts customer at the center of the business. Now, I think the next step is definitely the next part of the pillar, where we really want to turn that shopping experience into a leisure activity. I think one of the challenges as well right now with online transactions is the lack of the face-to-face approach, right? The hospitality part. So I think this is where we will all be trying to innovate how to turn that shopping experience into a pleasurable experience, so that we can also retain this engagement, and therefore we can retain the consumer for longer as well. And also I think with this, there's also the trend that if the entry point is from marketplace as the entry level for digital, now using websites, omnichannel, as mentioned earlier, allows the consumer to have multiple channels to engage. As also mentioned by Sujoy, they can browse probably on the website, they will probably maybe buy on marketplace, or maybe they will try it on offline, or maybe they can order it WhatsApp. But now suddenly online transaction is not only for digital savvy, but also for people who are also new to this, those who did not understand with WhatsApp for business. It makes everything so much more practical, and it makes it very easy, like in terms of adopting this new way of business. And also it allows a lot for brands itself, it allows a lot of possibility for personalization, for different type of marketing activities that are beyond what is available with the geographical barrier of offline stores. And for brands as well, this data will also help to make it easier to analyze, draw insight, and create a more effective plan, because everything is so much more trackable. It's very fast to get the data, so in turn it's very fast as well to respond to how the market reacts or responds to a certain thing. So definitely that's where we see where most players are going to go to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that one. I wanna deeper your comment a little bit, and I wanna throw this one to the industry player, both Ibu Evelyn and Pak Mahendra. Basically, when you mention how, we are facing several challenges here when we are putting the online experience, right? That there is not enough hospitality sense that we are putting on through the online. Of course, these are some of the gap that we are trying to innovate on that one. Pak Mahendra, Ibu Evelyn, from your perspective, how can we enhance this online experience, to become more, not only more personalized, but you can really feel the warm hospitality. Which usually you get it from the offline kind of thing, right? Can I get your feedback on this one, Pak Mahendra and Ibu Evelyn? Maybe Pak Mahendra first.
Sure. I think as you rightly mentioned, there is a very thin line now which we are trying to bring in for a seamless experience to the customer. So let's take, say, e-commerce, for instance. So how do you give the customer that experience? One, of course, is the option for him to see rich content, to get him, whether whatever brand it is, we give them rich content to experience it seamlessly, whether it's a 3D augmented content or whether it's a, now there are a lot of innovations happening in AR VR space, and it's a continuous innovation, as you rightly mentioned, Pa. So that's one area where that's going to bring the two worlds, the physical world and the digital world, closer, with more of augmented reality coming in the near future, for sure. That's one. And second, I think on the conversational part, now any e-commerce you take, you have a chat option on the site, irrespective of other channels. So you want to talk to an agent, you're stuck somewhere, you want to ask a question, there is a chat option near real time for everybody now. So basically, you're trying to bring that physical connect and that responsiveness to the customer on the e-commerce space. So those are some of the things which we are seeing going to happen, especially in future on the AR VR space, for sure.
Thank you. Ibu Evelyn?
Yeah, I think echoing what Pa Mahendra also mentioned. So live chat is, I think, one of the ways to still bring this experience to our consumers. So we all talk about data and automation in Indonesia, but frankly, people are still looking for, like Stephanie also mentioned, the hospitality, looking for the person interaction. So live chat, and then also I think like augmented reality, when people want to look for certain products, we're giving them the ability to have like the closest feeling to what they have like in store, the touch and feel feeling. And then I think the last one, I think this is also a new trend, not new, but something that is really working, I think, for most of the marketplaces also, is a video commerce. So because they can get a sense of having a personal shopper, they can see how the product fits, they can throw out questions directly, and basically they have like virtual in-store experience with video commerce.
Okay. And if I can continue some of this discussion, bringing all of this into together is very much that what we need. Pak Mahendra, Ibu Evelyn, what your sense about metaverse? Are you moving to metaverse on this one? Maybe if I can switch a little bit now, if I can switch it to Ibu Evelyn first.
Yes, very interesting question, Pak Hendra. So internally, it's something that is being discussed, but I think a lot of confidentiality at the moment. But definitely, it's something that we have in mind. In fact, we honestly had this discussion about this metaverse. Like I mentioned earlier, because we have the ecosystem and we have the products, we have the services, we have the infrastructure. So yes, it's a very interesting future, I think, for our group. That's all I can say, Mahendra, at the moment.
Sure. Thank you, Ibu Evelyn. Pak Mahendra, do you want to spill some of your future plan about metaverse, Pak Mahendra?
No, I don't want to talk anything specific about MAP here, but it's inevitable that this space is going to get very interesting for the customers, the meta world, the metaverse, as you call it. But it's still a journey. I think the technology is still in early stages in terms of the experience for the customer, whether it's a 3D rendered model of content, whether it's a product on a 3D model of yourself. There's still a long way to go in terms of that space, but definitely we have seen some of the global players having done some innovations in that space, but again, early stages. But yeah, definitely we'll be there in that. And I think it's inevitable. Again, it's an inevitable part of the future, like what you asked about Facebook or Instagram, say 20 years back. Same thing. It will happen. This will happen. But yeah, it'll take some time, I guess.
Thank you. Now, I know that I'm close to the end of the discussion, but if I can have one more question to be answered by Stephanie and Sujoy from the platform perspective. Looking, all of these industry players are moving from the how they are transforming themselves, yeah, through offline to all the way to omni-channel, a proper omni-channel, all of this digital kind of thing. Understanding the solution stack that you have been providing, all of those. Where do you see this is moving towards, yeah? And then what's next? Do you think is going to be a big ticket item for the retailer that they need to consider? Maybe if I can throw to the ladies first, Stephanie, Ibu Stephanie.
Okay. I think definitely what we're going to see is that even though there's a really, really fast growth in terms of online, offline is not going away. I think offline is definitely going to have its place still. However, the role might change a little bit. So I think O2O integration, offline to online, and actually back online to offline again, would be the key on what is going to happen next. And I think right now we are seeing a lot of innovation in digital, especially at the final end in the consumer side. I think we are going to see a lot more of digital transformation, especially not only at the final consumer stage, but also along every stage of the supply chain, which I think will actually change the way we do the business. So right now, just to share an example, so this year actually, Circle actually acquired Warung Pintar, which is new retail, or warung, the your neighborhood kiosk. And part of it was actually how do we combine such an offline channel with an online? It's how do we infuse technology in the middle to have a broader channel. So not only online, and not online replacing offline, but online complementing offline. And I think that's where technology will play a much bigger part, not only on the retail and part, consumer part, but also in the process for efficiency. So I think this is where I see the trend is going to go even further. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, O2O from offline to online, and is basically it's going to be the full integration out of that, right?
Yes.
Pak Sujoy, can you share your thought on this one, and where is it moving?
I think very interesting comments by Stephanie. Really, as consumers, we will still shop offline in certain cases, right? So retail stores are not going away. They will play a very special role in really the customer's journey there. We are also seeing customers want a human touch, in which case I come from the automation and the world of automation and AI, and we realize that not everything can be automated, right? So which is why when we say conversation, these are not either bots nor are these 100% agent live chats, which is not scalable. So we'll see phygital come together and play a leading role in consumers' lives. And also really consumers are driving this change. Whatever technology companies like ours, or in many cases brands, think that they want to do first. Hey, do we want to get onto metaverse? But hey, consumers are showing us the way, and they're telling us when they want to use it, right? And then we just need to listen to them, build for them in terms of technology, and actually enable them to do it. That's what I'd say.
Thank you. I think it's about to wrap up, I'm assuming, right? Let me try to cover some of the summary of the discussion. First of all, thank you for Vizury, Circlo, City Corp, and MAP for joining this discussion. We know from the mega trend perspective, there are several mega trends from technology, demographic, and everything. But the one that really pushing us is basically COVID-19. This COVID-19, I think we all know that years of transformation plan has been completed within very short term, right? I mean, Stephanie was mentioning about 3 months. While we know that this transformation continues to move on, yeah. We know from the beginning when we are talking about digital transformation, specifically during COVID, we need to be able to be fast so we can respond to the customer need as soon as possible. Leveraging our platform is very, very key. Specifically, the foundation you have built is very, very much mindful on that one. We have several solution vendor or solution provider and platform provider. This will so-called emulate the acceleration of all of this, yeah. And this is very much needed for us to go forward. In regards of the value proposition, I take several key points. Is basically enhancing customer experience is always going to be the key. Having said that, we will not going to be able to use that as one value proposition. There are several value proposition and which need to be localized also. Some of those, because several value proposition in the suburb area could be different with the urban area, right? So all of those we need to be mindful on those. Yeah. Trend. Where is the trend? I think the trend, we know technology still continue to move. Customer expectation will continue to move. It will continue to increase. There are several things that are inevitable. Metaverse is potentially one of them. Yeah, which some of the retailer may need to be moved towards that. But we know that online and offline will not going to be 100% disappear. This is something that we'll need to continue to integrate so that our business will continue to provide digital as well as a proper hospitality through our offline channel also. Maybe with that, I'll close it, the discussion. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for a good discussion. And I hand it back to our host, Jet.
Thank you, Mahendra. Thank you to the rest of our panelists. That was a great discussion. Again, if you have any questions for any of our speakers, you may reach out to them directly under the People tab. You can just look for them and send them a private message. So right now, also for Vizury, specifically for Sujoy Golan, you can catch him over at the Vizury booth, and then him and his other teammates will be happy to assist you. Thanks again,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to everyone. That is the end of our event. We hope everyone had a fun and learning 2-day experience with us. We thank all of our sponsors and speakers for their time and sharing their expert opinions and insights to us the entire 2-day event. Most importantly, we would like to thank each and every one of our attendees in taking the time to join us. This event would not be possible without each and every one of you. If any one of you want to watch the replays of any of the sessions we had yesterday and today, please visit the schedule tab. But there you can watch the replay of any of our tracks. Even if the agenda has ended, we are still open. The event platform is still open for everyone to engage and meet in. We highly suggest you visit the booth section and see what each company there can offer your company to excel in the Southeast Asian retail industry. Once again, thank you, everyone. My name is Jed from Mascom Events, Asia's leading B2B conference producers. We hope to see you all in our next events. Good afternoon and take care, everyone.